Ever felt that uncomfortable tension when your beliefs clash with your actions? Today, we're diving into the mind's secret struggle, a psychological tug-of-war known as cognitive dissonance. Stay with me because understanding this hidden force can change the way you think, decide, and even live. Picture this. You're a devoted environmentalist who drives a gas-guzzling car, or you champion healthy eating yet crave that extra slice of pizza. That uneasy feeling is cognitive dissonance in action, a mental state where conflicting beliefs or behaviors create an emotional tug-of-war. And trust me, this isn't just a quirky brain malfunction, it's a fundamental process that shapes every decision we make. In today's deep dive, we're going to explore the origins of cognitive dissonance, uncover jaw-dropping real-world examples, and reveal actionable strategies to navigate its challenges. This isn't just psychology, it's a roadmap to living a more honest, fulfilled life. Let's begin with a story that perfectly encapsulates cognitive dissonance. Imagine a renowned athlete, revered for discipline and peak performance, who secretly struggles with self-doubt and unhealthy habits. For years, he projected an image of unwavering confidence while battling internal conflicts of self-criticism. His public persona clashed violently with his private insecurities, creating a tension that affected every part of his life, from his performance to his personal relationships. This internal struggle is cognitive dissonance, a silent war that forces us to reconcile who we are with who we want to be. Cognitive dissonance isn't a modern invention. It was first explored by psychologist Leon Festinger in the 1950s. He discovered that when people are confronted with inconsistencies between their beliefs and actions, they experience psychological discomfort, a tension they're driven to resolve. But how do we resolve it? Do we change our beliefs, justify our actions, or simply ignore the conflict? Today, we're going to dissect these mechanisms and learn how they affect our everyday lives. At its core, cognitive dissonance arises when we hold two or more contradictory beliefs or when our actions don't match our values. This creates mental tension that we're compelled to reduce. And the methods we choose to alleviate that tension can be both fascinating and at times downright dangerous. Consider the smoker who knows that cigarettes are harmful, yet continues to smoke. Instead of quitting, they might convince themselves that it's not that bad or that I'm immune to its effects. This self-justification eases the internal conflict, but delays life-changing decisions and puts health at risk. And it's not limited to health. This phenomenon permeates all areas of life, from politics to personal relationships. So, what are the psychological tools we use to reduce cognitive dissonance? Three main mechanisms come into play. First, there's selective exposure. When faced with dissonance, we tend to seek out information that reinforces our current beliefs while avoiding anything that challenges them. Think about your social media feed. If it only echoes your opinions, that's selective exposure working to keep the discomfort at bay. Second, there's rationalization. This is where we twist facts or create elaborate justifications for our actions. When our behavior doesn't align with our beliefs, we craft explanations that make it seem logical. For example, someone who cheats on a diet might claim, "One cheat day won't hurt," convincing themselves that their overall effort is still worthwhile. Rationalization acts as a bridge between conflicting thoughts, helping us maintain our self-image even in the face of contradiction. Third, sometimes the pressure of dissonance is so intense that we actually change our beliefs to align with our actions. This might sound counterintuitive. Shouldn't we hold on to our values? But when the conflict becomes unbearable, shifting our perspective can be the easiest solution. In our smoker's case, instead of quitting, they might downplay the risks of smoking, convincing themselves that the pleasure outweighs the harm. Now, let's look at the real-world impact of cognitive dissonance. In our fast-paced digital era, we're bombarded with information that challenges our views every day. Yet, many cling stubbornly to their established beliefs even when faced with overwhelming evidence to the contrary. This isn't because we're unwilling to learn. It's the powerful drive to resolve that discomfort. Take the political arena, for instance. Voters often experience cognitive dissonance when their favored candidate makes controversial decisions that contradict their stated values. Instead of rethinking their support, many choose to rationalize these actions or ignore the discrepancies altogether. This mental gymnastics shapes public opinion and influences policy decisions, often to the detriment of rational discourse. Cognitive dissonance also plays a profound role in our relationships. Imagine someone who values honesty yet finds themselves entangled in a web of lies to preserve a relationship. The clash between their commitment to truth and their actions creates stress, anxiety, and even resentment. In such cases, the discomfort might push them either to fully embrace honesty or to alter their values, convincing themselves that some lies are acceptable for the greater good. Even in the business world, leaders face dissonance when profitable decisions conflict with ethical standards. A company might engage in practices that boost short-term gains while ignoring long-term environmental impacts. Executives might justify these decisions by focusing solely on shareholder benefits, all while suppressing the dissonance that comes from harming the planet. The consequences of this dissonance can be far-reaching, affecting corporate reputation, public trust, and the very fabric of ethical business practices. So, how do we overcome cognitive dissonance and strive for intellectual integrity? The answer lies in cultivating a mindset that embraces discomfort as a catalyst for growth. First, acknowledge that dissonance is a natural part of being human. We all harbor contradictions within ourselves. It's how we address them that defines our character. One effective strategy is to actively seek out diverse perspectives. Engage with ideas that challenge your beliefs rather than simply reinforcing them. Ask yourself, what evidence contradicts my beliefs? And be willing to explore it. Mindfulness is another powerful tool. By becoming more aware of our thoughts and emotions, we can catch the moment when dissonance arises. Instead of immediately rationalizing, pause and reflect on why you feel this conflict. Often simply acknowledging the tension can diminish its power, opening the door to more balanced thinking. Embracing a growth mindset is also critical. Understand that learning is a lifelong process, and that being wrong sometimes isn't a failure, but an opportunity to grow. True wisdom doesn't come from always being right. It comes from the courage to face uncertainty and adapt. When you view dissonance as a chance to learn, you transform a potentially paralyzing force into a stepping stone toward personal evolution. Consider the journey of a celebrated entrepreneur who experienced a dramatic turnaround after facing the harsh realities of cognitive dissonance. Initially, he was convinced his business model was infallible. But when market realities forced him to confront his overconfidence, he embarked on a rigorous process of self-reflection, sought feedback from critics, and overhauled his strategy entirely. That painful yet transformative experience not only salvaged his company, but also propelled him to become a visionary leader, admired for his authenticity and willingness to evolve. In our hyper-connected world where information is abundant and opinions are loudly broadcasted, the challenge of cognitive dissonance is more relevant than ever. Social media platforms, with their echo chambers and filter bubbles, make it easy to surround yourself with voices that mirror your own. Algorithms reward certainty and simplicity, often at the expense of nuance and critical thinking. This environment nurtures the very dissonance we're discussing, forcing us to choose between the comfort of conformity and the challenge of intellectual honesty. So, how do we fight back against superficial certainty? The answer lies in digital literacy and mindful engagement. Diversify your information sources. Read widely, listen to opposing viewpoints, and most importantly, question the narratives that feel too comfortable. Cultivating thoughtful skepticism not only protects you from the pitfalls of dissonance, but also contributes to a more informed, resilient community. As we reflect on the nature of cognitive dissonance, it becomes clear that this phenomenon mirrors our own humanity. It reveals the gaps between our ideals and our realities, urging us to strive for a more honest, cohesive self. Philosophers have long grappled with these tensions. Socrates famously challenged us to know thyself, a call to confront our inner contradictions and grow from them. Embracing cognitive dissonance means accepting that we are not perfect, that our beliefs and actions will sometimes clash. But it also means opening ourselves up to the possibility of change, of learning something new about ourselves and the world around us. It's a call to be brave, to step into the discomfort, and to emerge stronger and wiser. Let's recap a blueprint for confronting cognitive dissonance. First, acknowledge the tension. Recognize that discomfort is a natural signal that something in your beliefs and actions is misaligned, and view it as an opportunity for growth rather than a failure. Next, seek diverse perspectives. Engage with sources that challenge your worldview, ask yourself tough questions, and be willing to reconsider your assumptions. Then, practice mindfulness. Become aware of your thoughts and emotions in the moment. Instead of rushing to rationalize, pause and reflect on why you feel conflicted. Also, adopt a growth mindset. View mistakes and contradictions as chances to learn. Remember, evolving your beliefs is a sign of strength, not weakness. Finally, enhance your digital literacy. Diversify your information sources to avoid echo chambers and critically assess the credibility of the content you consume. By integrating these strategies into your daily life, you can transform cognitive dissonance from a source of inner turmoil into a powerful driver of personal development. It's not about eliminating discomfort entirely. After all, growth rarely comes without a little friction, but about using that discomfort to propel you toward a more authentic, thoughtful existence. Every time you encounter a conflict between your beliefs and your actions, you're faced with a choice. You can ignore the tension and rationalize it away, or you can lean into it and let it fuel your growth. Which path will you choose? Here at Philosophy Nook, our goal is to explore these questions together, to peel back the layers of our minds and discover the deeper truths beneath. If today's exploration resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's build a community where curiosity, honesty, and growth are celebrated. Remember, true wisdom isn't the absence of conflict, but the courage to confront it head-on. Stay curious, stay open, and never stop questioning.